All right, everybody. Oh, happy day. I hope you're doing just insanely well. This video is all about helping you understand how to handle an aged lead properly so that you can hopefully be more profitable, and also some things that you're going to need to be made aware of so that you don't get litigated, sued, and just frustrated when you're trying to find success in this time-tested and absolutely noble profession. So before I jump into this topic with you, my name's Jason. I'm your friend in the business. I do run a national insurance agency where I recruit and I partner with just powerful new and veteran agents across this nation. And we're selling life and Medicare and annuities face to face, but more importantly, in the telespace. So free resources for your taking at jasonfinalexpense.com. And I do appreciate you and your time today. So let's talk about some things to be very cautious of when you're thinking about capitalizing with aged leads. First off, if you're thinking about aged leads, you may not have as much cash in the bank accounts to begin your career, and there's no shame in this. Everybody's got to start somewhere. Don't let anybody disparage you when you're trying to start with aged leads. And you want to make sure that whatever aged lead that you touch, make sure they're TCPA compliant and that they've been scrubbed against the DNC. And if you don't know what DNC stands for, well, let's get after this with you real quick. It stands for Do Not Call List. All right. You don't want to be calling someone that's on the DNC list. And there's a ton of these stores out there that will sell you a lead that has not been scrubbed. And you're going to lose your lunch when a lawyer picks up and calls you and goes, "Hello, why'd you call blankety blank?" And you go, it's not good. So first off, make sure that whatever vendor you choose has been scrubbed against the DNC. Another thing that you want to make sure that your leads have been scrubbed with is you want to make sure they've been scrubbed against the litigators list. And these are just professional lawyers waiting for your call. So make sure that whatever aged lead you look at acquiring, make sure it's actually been scrubbed and that they do this to protect you, the agent, before you even get going with aged leads. Because you don't have a lot of money. The last thing you want to do is have to pony up with a lawyer with money you already don't have, if that's your situation. So if you need a good aged lead vendor, please reach out at jasonfinalexpense.com. I can get you in touch with some amazing leads for talking $1.50 a lead, and they're under 90 days old, and they've only touched one other agent's hands in the life of that lead. So when you're looking upon aged leads, I want you to look at them with the intentionality of, "Ooh, I get to go help this person." It's kind of like when we were all kids. You want to be looking at an aged lead in the right light. You don't want to be looking at an aged lead like, "Oh, it's a piece of garbage. Oh, it's an aged lead. Oh, they've probably been sold before." You can't have this attitude if you want to accelerate in your career. There's amazing success to be had with aged lead, but you've got to get your mind right. Your mind has to be right before you move. So you've got to get your intent in the right place. And that's me first, me first, me first. I'm going to be the first person to call them. I got my aged leads. I'm going to call now, now, now. The time is now, not never, not tomorrow, not the next day. Move like somebody else is going to take your lunch money. You got to move quick here. So when you touch an aged lead, you got to just focus on that lead with everything that's in you to help them, but you got to hustle. You got to hustle. It's already an aged lead. We're talking 90 days or less. Maybe it's 45 days old, 20 days old. Maybe that agent that got that lead never got to get a hold of them yet. I want to be first. I want to be first. And if you want to win with insurance sales, you got to get first in line. You want to be that fat guy at college, getting that biscuits and gravy like I was at college. Goodness, getting that line first. As soon as that line opens, go, go, go. I love biscuits and gravy. And you want to get success with an aged lead, you got to be that me first attitude by being first to help this prospect. It's powerful. So tip number one, you got to get your intent right on how you even look upon an aged lead once you've purchased a good aged lead. And don't be paying more than $1.50 for an aged lead, and ask how many times they've been sold. That's important, because sometimes an aged lead is horrible because they sell it 10 million times and then you get it and it's like everybody's beat them up. That's not going to help you feel great when you're trying to find success. So first off, intent is important. But tip number two, you can't half-step this. You've got to have action. Tip number two, when you're looking upon an aged lead, you've got to put in lots, and I mean lots of action. You cannot just go half in. "Oh, I'm going to call a couple people and see what happens." No, you've got to have your intent right, but you've got to be all in or not at all. When you're touching an aged lead, it's something that's going to require you to do a little bit more to get a little bit more out of it. So this is a thing that you may want to think about. Will you use a dialer? If you've got enough money to get a lot of good aged leads, maybe you can invest into your business to get a dialer where it maybe will dial 3 lines at the same time. That's called a triple line dialer. This is a force multiplier when you're dealing with a lot of aged leads. Let's say you bought 1,000 aged leads. That's really a low cost to you to get started. Invest a tiny little bit in a dialer, and now you can just dial everything in so that you're having more conversations, and then hopefully that will give you the conversions that you're really looking for. And then as you're working your aged leads, don't have your eyes in a place where you're like, I'm going to stay with aged leads. I'm going to stay cheap on my leads. No, step up to the next level. Once you've attained success with aged leads, move forward to an exclusive lead. Maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's SEO lead, maybe it's another type of lead. That's all right, but get an exclusive lead as fast as you can once you found success. But with an aged lead, there's no shame in the game. Start here, but make sure they're TCPA compliant, make sure they've been scrubbed, make sure they've been scrubbed against the litigators list as well, and then make sure that they've only been sold to one other person, like some of the resources that I can help you with. But you've got to have full action if you want a chance of finding success. You got to go, you got to go, you got to go. You got to get. Those that do are those that get, all right? You got to be going. You got to be getting busy by being about dialing. If you can't afford a dialer, don't worry. You can find insanely successful ways by just picking up your cell phone if you need to. There's no shame in starting somewhere. So don't be afraid of just knuckling down with high action, but you cannot half step this. You've got to see success as what it is. Intent on being first to help them. Intent on high action. I'm going to dial as much as I can. I'm going to move my fingers as fast as I can. I'm going to find success. I will find success. If you want to find success with any form of lead, whether it's an aged lead, a Facebook lead, an inbound lead, an outbound lead, you got to dig deep in yourself. When it gets tough, do you take a break or do you just get started? When it gets tough, do you take time off or do you knuckle down and move and go and go? You want to get it? You got to dig deep within you, within yourself, and say, I know my why. I'm going to work even when I don't feel like working. And an aged lead is going to tell you the same responses that a brand new lead would. All right. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I never sent that card in. Oh, I changed my mind. Mail it to me. They're going to say all the same things. And yes, you will stumble over your own tongue at times. That's okay. Give yourself permission to fail forward. Every time you have an objection that maybe you didn't handle as well, you just fall, all right, a little higher until you find success. Just work with everything that's in you. Don't stress out about anything. When you're paying a lower lead cost, it's a cheaper way to learn. Let me share you that with you. It's a lot cheaper to learn on an age lead than it is a brand new lead that you just paid $15 for, $28 for, $10 for, or $8 for. You're going to feel a lot better when you're spending less to have those conversations. So you've got to move quickly with action, all in. Even if you're a part-time agent, put full-time work behind your part-time hours if you want a chance of profitability. So it's big. So intent, focus on being first, action, full action, full court press, even with part-time hours. Get down and just grind even when it gets tough. No lead is going to be perfect. A brand new lead, an inbound lead, a final expense Facebook lead, self-generated Facebook leads, final expense leads. It doesn't matter. They're going to tell you the same thing and say the same story. I've done this before. I saw when they clicked into my little thing and then I immediately talked to them. They go, oh, I didn't do that. I'm like, dear goodness. Yes, you did. But you can't say that. You can't say that with final expense sales. You're going to get sold the same bill of goods, though, even with aged leads. So it does take discipline for sure. It takes discipline, but it takes dynamic force within you to find that inner why, that inner strength that I'm going to make the wealth with these aged leads. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. You've got to have positive forward momentum to have a chance of finding success. So make sure that you are focused on high action. It is going to take a lot of action. You're digging through dirt to find the gold, right? You're going to get cold in those streams to be gold panning. All right. And I don't do any of that gold panning stuff, but it's kind of fun to watch on TV in the warmth of my house. So this is something where it just takes high action. An aged lead, nothing wrong with it. It can get you to the good place that you want to be, but just understand it's just a conversation. It's not a conversion. You got to make sure that tip number 3, you follow a good aged lead script. You've got to keep yourself safe. That script is so important because you got to say the same thing over and over again so that you can duplicate your success when you're handling any lead. It doesn't matter if it's new final expense leads, an inbound final expense lead, or an aged final expense lead. When you're handling them, you've got to handle them the same way so that you have consistency that hopefully will give you capitalization. But your movement is important. You've got to have discipline. You've got to execute at specific times. You've got to work them like your very career depends on it, because my friends, it does. It doesn't matter what type of lead you have. Take advantage of every moment to speak truth and to speak love into their lives. Help them guard and protect their families. That's what they want you to do with your whole life. Final expense solutions. It's a great industry. But with an aged lead, you got to look at them like they put their hand up. I'm here to help you now. They put their hand up. I'm here to help you now. The time is now, not tomorrow. Take that conversation for the precious moment that it is, and you take care of them with everything that's in you. It'll change the way that you help them, that you are heard as you're helping them across the telespace. It's important. It's almost magical when you're doing things right, but you're going to get told the same things that you would off a brand new lead, and it doesn't cost you a whole lot of dough. So be careful of data lists. That's an ugly way to learn, but make sure whatever lead you touch has been scrubbed against the DNC, also against the litigator's list, and make sure that you're not paying more than $1.50 a lead for aged leads. I know there's some IMOs and FMOs out there that sell aged leads that are over 90 days old, and they're charging $4 to $6, sometimes $8. And I've heard rumors of them selling the same lead over and over and over again. And that's kind of tough to overcome when you're handling aged leads that way. So get the best quality lead, my friends, that you can possibly get your hands on. And then you got to work it like you're broke, and you got to serve people like you're sitting back on 6 figures selling final expense insurance. You've got to have that winning mindset about you, that winning work set about you. And the best chance of finding the wealth is having a good old smile across your face and always being in a place where you're prepared to embrace the tough things. If you want to transact in this business, yes, it's a simple business, but it's not easy. But starting with aged leads is a fantastic place to start. You can look at my agent interviews and testimonials. You'll see countless agents that use aged leads to start. Extremely compliant, very powerful, and it's a lot easier to learn on a lead that doesn't cost a lot than to be put in a position where I say you're riding the world's smallest merry-go-round if all you can afford is 20 leads and you're calling those same 20 people over and over and over again. You're probably going to get dizzy. You're probably going to yak at the end of your career if that's all the leads you got. And there's no shame in starting with good aged leads. Buy a lot of them, my friends. Buy a lot of them. Get a dialer if you can afford one. Use a triple line dialer. Just help people increase your conversations, and hopefully this will increase your conversions. If I can serve you in any way at all, reach out at jasonfinalexpense.com, but work these leads fast, just like it was a brand new exclusive final expense lead to you, and you will get the most out of every conversation. I appreciate you, my friends. We'll see you soon.